Caroline Levitt's office was quiet except for the hum of the news playing softly on the muted TV in the corner. Lyle stood in front of her desk, arms crossed, holding a single sheet of paper, the invitation. "You're joking," Caroline said, not looking up from her laptop. "Wish I was," Lyle replied. "Everett Lane wants you on his show next week." Caroline finally glanced up, one eyebrow arched. "To do what? Be his next gotcha clip?" Lyle tossed the paper onto her desk. "He's framing it as a discussion on free speech, but we both know what that means." She leaned back in her chair, studying the invitation like it was a chess move. "He'll try to talk over me, cut me off, play the crowd." "Standard Everett tactics," Lyle agreed. "So? Do we politely decline?" Caroline tapped her fingers against the armrest once, twice. Then she smiled, a sharp, knowing thing. "No, I'll do it." Lyle blinked. "You sure?" "If he wants a spectacle," she said, "he'll get one, but it's going to be on my terms." That night, Caroline sat on her couch, laptop balanced on her knees, watching Everett's most recent takedown of a conservative pundit. The man had barely gotten 3 words out before Everett steamrolled him with rapid-fire interruptions, sarcastic asides, and audience-pleasing jabs. She took notes. Pauses after insults, waits for applause, leans in when he's losing ground, ignores follow-ups. Her phone buzzed. Her brother. "You're really doing this?" The text read. She typed back, "Someone's got to." A moment later, her phone rang. "Don't let him rattle you," her brother said as soon as she answered. "Answer the question, not the tone." Caroline exhaled. "I know. You're better at this than he is," she smirked. "Damn right." She hung up, then reached for the silver pin on the coffee table. Her grandmother's. She turned it over in her fingers once before setting it aside for tomorrow. The cafe near Rittenhouse Square was exactly the kind of place Caroline liked, unpretentious, full of people who didn't care who she was. A college student scribbling notes, a nurse on break, 2 construction workers arguing about last night's game. She sipped her coffee, watching the city move outside the window. No cameras, no politics, just life. Her phone buzzed. Gwen, the producer. "Everett's in a mood today. Just a heads up." Caroline snorted. Shocking. She finished her coffee, left a tip, and stepped back into the chill March air. The studio awaited. Everett Lane didn't knock. He just walked in, all smirks and sharp tailoring, his trademark white sneakers squeaking against the floor. "Well, well," he said, "the rebel from New Hampshire." Caroline didn't stand. "Everett, charming as ever." He chuckled like they were old friends. "Wasn't sure you'd show. People like you usually just tweet." "People like me, you know, the outrage crowd." Caroline smiled. "I figured I'd give your viewers a reason to stay past the first segment." Everett's grin flickered, just for a second. Gwen poked her head in. 5 minutes." Everett turned to leave, then paused at the door. "Let's keep it civil, yeah?" Caroline tilted her head. "I hope you brought better arguments than last week's show. Otherwise, it's going to be a short conversation." The door closed behind him. Lyle let out a low whistle. "You're not here to play nice, are you?" Caroline fastened her silver pin to her lapel. "No, I'm here to win." The studio lights were blinding. Caroline sat perfectly still as Everett launched into his intro, all smarm and confidence. "So, Caroline, you've said campuses are hostile to free speech. Are students just not allowed to protest now?" Caroline leaned in, just slightly. "Protest isn't the same as silencing. Shouting someone down isn't debate, it's theater," Everett smirked. "So students don't get to be outraged?" "Outrage is fine. Preventing speech isn't protest, it's fear. A beat. The audience hadn't expected that. Everett's knee started bouncing under the desk. The trap springs. Studio lights intensify as Everett leans forward, fingers steepled. Everett, mock concerned. Let's talk about your recent campus tour. Students felt threatened by your presence. Care to comment? Caroline's fingers brush her silver pin briefly. Caroline, calmly, interesting framing. The protests were organized before I arrived, almost like the outrage came first. Then they went looking for a reason. Audience murmurs. Camera cuts to Everett's tightening jaw. Everett, forced chuckle. Are you suggesting, Caroline, interrupting smoothly, I'm stating facts. The flyers said, no fascists on campus before anyone knew I was coming. Leans in. Tell me, Everett, when did advocating for due process become fascism? Control room shot. Producers exchanging looks. Part 7. The furs stumble. Everett shuffles. Notes uncharacteristically thrown. Everett, flustered. We're getting off topic. Your side routinely. Caroline, sharp smile. My side? I thought we were discussing ideas, not teams. Studio dead silent. Everett's eye twitch visible in close-up. Everett, regaining footing. Fine. Let's discuss your controversial tweet about Caroline, mocking his tone. Controversial. Meaning you disagreed. Turns to camera. See how language gets weaponized? Wide shot. Everett's white-knuckled grip on his pen. Part 8. The turning tide. Commercial break ends. Everett's forced smile returns. Everett. Welcome back. Now, Caroline. Be honest. Isn't your outrage just performance? Caroline laughs genuinely, disarming him. Caroline. Project much? Gestures to set. Who here gets paid to be outraged every Monday night? Crew member coughs to cover laugh. Everett's face darkens. Everett. Voice rising. That's a cheap shot. Caroline. Mimicking his cadence. Cheap shot. Translation. I don't have a rebuttal. Studio monitor shows social media exploding. The breaking point. Everett stands. Abruptly, MICPAC wires straining Everett. To control room. We're done here. Caroline, without standing. Of course we are. Can't have actual debate on a debate show. Everett rips off mic, storming off camera. Caroline turns calmly to camera 2, Caroline. To viewers. Any questions you'd like answered properly? Production chaos as Gwen signals to keep rolling. Part 10. The aftermath. Caroline's phone vibrating endlessly in green room. Lyle. Grinning. You broke him? In 17 minutes. Screen shows viral clip. Everett Lane walks off, trending. Caroline. Removing silver pin. No, he broke himself. I just, held up the mirror.